Welcome back to another episode of Decentralized Chain. It's Faraz, and in today's episode, we are going to be catching up with Richard Parris, co-founder of Saito, for our regular monthly update. Today, we're going to be covering off quite a few things. We're going to be looking at the Saito arcade. That's been certainly getting a lot of traffic lately. We're going to be talking about Web3 and crypto support space in general and what Saito has been doing here. We're also going to be talking about FTX, and also we're going to be talking about one of the latest Saito implementation proposals. And as always, community outreach. So let's jump right in. But before you do, and if this is the type of content that you like, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Definitely hit the bell notification icon and hit the like button. Let's get this episode pumping up through the algorithms in YouTube. Come over, join us over in Telegram, have a chat. Let's see how we're all doing. And I will see you on the other side. Everything else is fine. Audio is there. Good. And then 3, 2, 1. Hello, Richard. Welcome back to the show. Great to have you here on a Friday, as always.
Great to be here as usual. And again, great. I think 5 weeks, not 5 years, 5 weeks.
Yeah, no. It's interesting you say that because I was looking. I was thinking, when was the last time we did an update? But actually, it literally was about a month ago. So we're on track. We're on track. So let's jump straight in, Richard. For our viewers out there, I'm sure they're eager to know. Yeah. So first up on our list, we've got your arcade games. Actually, have been picking up recently.
Yeah, so
a lot of traction.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows we hired across last year and into this year, and one of the significant things we picked up was Dr. Dan, the game doctor, and his and the team's work. I think across the board is really starting to pay dividends. There may be other factors, like particularly in this sort of current state of the markets, etc. That people are coming to play and enjoy themselves rather than staring at charts all day. But I think mostly it really is organic uptake, and it's just great to see. I've been hopping on in the evenings and playing a couple of rounds of our island settling game with organic users off the internet who don't know me, I don't know them. It's quite fun to spring. You just beat the founder on them, but beat a founder, but it's really been great, and we're hoping to see that continue over the next month. It's year to come. But yeah, there's really good feeling around the actual on-site experience for the network at the moment.
You're right. That point you mentioned earlier, though, which is obviously the market is somewhat where it is at the moment and kind of just plodding along. But you're right. It gives people time to focus on to see what's actually been built over the past year as well, and what we're doing in this space.
Yeah, well, they always say that. They always say like real projects build in these kind of markets, etc. And I think it's a little bit amusing for us because we've always been doing that, and there's always a constant cry of when Binance on the main TG channel for anything, and so it's kind of interesting to observe that quieten down a little bit, and to see people really appreciating that we have been sticking to our guns and that we keep working on what we're working on.
Let's talk a bit about your Web3 support. I mean, it was Tron that we had last time. Where are we at now?
Yeah. So I think people who follow us would have remembered the support for polkadot that we did with the Web3 grant. And that's why we call this work Web3 Cryptos. That was kind of an initial proof of concept, and we showed that worked with polkadot, that Saito's ability to support and bring infrastructure to other blockchains is, it was the first time we made that a reality. With generic Web3 crypto support, what we've really got is something that's a bit more powerful, and it's simpler now to not just add a currency, but also to have them coexist in the system. We went with Tron. It seemed better than a meme coin as a kind of first trial to go out there. We don't have any affiliation with Tron, but it's a good low fee option to show people here's a really standard EVM chain token being moved around on Saito. And that's really exciting because that's also the kind of a gateway to things that, people have been saying for a while, like NFT marketplaces and other exchange of non-Saito value on the platform being made possible. So we're starting to kind of talk to our community and some other communities about what comes next. But I think this is a little bit underrated even in our community about what this means for Saito and what it means for the industry. So really exciting to have that at the stage that it's in, and really excited about what's coming up in the next couple of months.
But you're right though. I mean, it is big. Like, it's not something that you can just brush under the carpet, really. We're talking about other cryptocurrencies now being supported on the Saito network itself, which is a big feat.
Yeah, there's two things about that. One is, we're transporting other cryptos, and like that's not something that many chains could even try and do for data reasons and other things. The other side of that is, hey, look, actual Web3.
Yeah.
So we don't go out blazing with sort of negative takes on things, etc. But Uniswap, as much as people want to say, oh, it's Web3, or OpenSea, much less so. These are centralized services with Web3 tokens running on them.
That's right.
If you go and you play a game on the Saito arcade, and winner gets a token, people share out some money afterwards, or an NFT. That's a genuinely Web3 peer-to-peer interaction. The dice rolls are peer-to-peer. There's no central server. Everything's fair, but so is the exchange of any value.
Yeah,
and that's something that's actually genuinely hard to find, and we're pretty proud to be bringing that to people, in the way that we are.
Yeah, it's true to the Web3 concept at the end of the day in terms of decentralization, as it should be.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
done properly.
Yeah, exactly, done properly. Let's talk about FTX, because there's a bit of news around there as well, right?
Yeah, so we've been talking for a while, but I mean, I'm an old Blockfolio user. I've been for a while. I think there's a fair few of us out there, keep track of the pennies. And one of the features they've had on there that is one of the few notifications I haven't turned off on my phone is the Signal feature.
That's right.
We've now been added to that, so it's officially the FTX Signal, which is a nice, obviously, brand name to have in the industry, but what it is highly curated news content from serious projects in the space. So one of the things that I like about it is that it relates to projects I'm following or I'm interested in, but also it's one of the few places outside of channels, say like this, where someone is taking time and putting an effort to curate content and to make sure it's high quality. Where there's a kind of general service like that. And so, we're really excited because it gives us a chance to put out high quality information to people who are really interested in a slightly longer form. I mean, usually it's still Twitter, like it's a bit of content and a link. But to be part of that kind of information flow to people who are really looking for it, I think it's really useful for a project like us. And, we're already seeing big open rates and high impression numbers because I think people who are following the project will, get that information and immediately go and look at it. So big pat on the back to the marketing guys who pushed that through, the outreach team, and looking forward to communicating with an even bigger community via that method.
I was going to say, I mean, it is outreach, which, is very important. And that is another channel, like you said, which is a respected channel as well at the same time. And the community around it, the users around it, you are tapping into another audience also as well at the same time.
I just realized when I look at my notes, I look like I'm sitting sideways.
No one's
There's nothing suspicious going on, people.
No.
Yeah, it's good to have that kind of opportunity to present kind of key updates to people, and it's good to be able to do it in a space. I mean, if you look at what we do with outreach, we're not on a lot of channels like this, etc. It's very heavily community based. We work with the community heavily because that's really the kind of project we are. We aren't anything without them. And so, we're very picky and choosy about where we spend our time because, there's just a lot of noise out there. And so it's great to be able to build up these high grade communication tools to kind of, get information to people, but also then, in a way that's valuable to them and accessible.
Talking about value. So we've got, I was hearing about simplified staking on the site, or you've got a proposal. What can you share about that?
Yeah, so there's another thing that's happened in the last month, and it's kind of hard to keep track as we build up in size and the amount of activity kind of keeps increasing. But basically, we have I kind of want to call them SIPs because of the Bitcoin improvement protocols, which are called BIPs. But we've got our first serious, and we've kind of first time we've logged one and said, here is a formal suggestion for improving the implementation of the Saito mechanism in code. It came from discussions with community. So a particular community member had an idea that kind of morphed into the suggestion. Shout out to Brick Block Cube. He's a legend amongst citizens. And it's really cool because it's very insightful and it allows us to essentially reuse a key data structure. So we're not replicating the amount of work the consensus mechanism needs to do as the staking table. So we're keeping track of one less thing. And when you've got something that's got to perform at the kind of speeds and do things at the complexity level that Saito's trying to achieve, one less moving part has a way bigger effect than you might think. It's a fairly big moving part we're pulling out. So it's really exciting to see the impact this can have on progress, but also it's just great to be getting this kind of input from community at all levels. You know, like I still remember when it was David trying to explain Saito to me and get me involved, and me not even sure what exactly it was we were talking about. So to have, you know, third parties coming in and suggesting something insightful is brilliant. And to be building that into the code base is a really big step forward. I think, you know, Ethereum, the big boys, Bitcoin, they have these kind of mechanisms for you know, proper open contribution to consensus, and it feels nice to be part of that, you know, space now as well.
Well, it's community at the end of the day, right? I mean, you know, you're at one with your community, and community is what also has a significant impact on any project as well. So where I think the community are involved and you're actively taking on their inputs, it's always a positive.
Well, I think it's showing that it's two-way, right? Yeah. I think you can see at the moment as well. I mean, like you look at activity and buzz around projects, and you know, there's sort of everything's a little bit more somber. There's not quite as much light and noise in the industry as you know there was 6 months ago at the moment. But things are still motoring along at Saito, and the project is still active, and that's because it's an organic thing, and it has a life of its own, and that is in no small part because we've built up that community, which really, in the end, consists of people who have taken time sometimes to understand what we're doing and have seen the value and want to be part of it, and that's really rewarding for us. But it also gives the project a strength that you don't see all the time.
Exactly. Well, I think that's a wrap, Richard, because there was a fair bit that we've gone through, and I'm going to say thank you as always for your time and the updates, and we shall catch up in another month's time.
Thank you. Good. Cheers, as always.
Speak to you later.